Hello everyone, my name is Cassandra and I want to take a moment to talk to my observations in the educational system, especially when it comes to individuals who are posting content on the platforms and how it's very, 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 very important for you to listen to what I'm saying. I know you all have such trusting hearts, and it's very disheartening to see what I've seen in what we're seeing. It comes from a way of thinking that I'm kind of talking for the kids, but I'm also kind of talking for you all as parents. It's like a cloudy shift in education to only see education as in memorizing. So I think part of that is why we're having a lot of this autism. It's almost like some parents, and these are for parents who, some of your kids are a little different, antisocial, and things like that, right? So they're a little slower. There is such a thing as learning disabilities. It's just the way that our brains were developed. However, it's almost like there's an expectation now that every child has autism, versus creating the pathway of neurological education and discipline for behavior so the parent can have attention. So just sit with that for a second. But with like defense to the parent, it becomes an overwhelm of yourself based on what's happening in your life. So that's one thing. Plus, we have a lot of Obama administration attempting to dumb down society. Now, I want to kind of take it over to Miss Rachel as an example of dumbing down society, of getting one. Gotcha. I've demonstrated in a couple videos on how she enters your child's mind and it's like taking someone's soul. But she's not actually teaching them, she's training them. And what I find in the Miss Rachel conversation is that she's teaching your child to call her mama. I'm not sure, that's actually an example of the disconnect from your critical thinking skills that I know you have, to where you are in society with following trends. You took that child and you raised that baby in the belly, and then the baby came out and you, maybe or maybe not, some of you are actually in love with the person you're with. And now you've given Miss Rachel the clout to, one, grow her business, but two, teach your child, which is a blessing for you as a mother, to tell your baby how to say mama. And that's an educational piece for you to understand that that's not normal. Ones and twos and threes and characters and math and science, you want to understand that they've switched over the education into emotion, not language. It just occurs to you because you're a little brainwashed that they're educating you on language. That's not how it works. I mean, unless you're like learning English when you're an infant, though, you don't really need someone, not Miss Rachel teaching. You still want your baby to say your madre or whatever language of what you're going to teach. Now, we're moving into a little bit more, more challenging information, meaning to an infant, counting is not an easy subject, usually in the beginning. It's a walking stage, right? However, they use so much sing-song sound of manipulation. You know, the new teacher now doesn't really care about educating. They want memorization so they can pass tests. They have so much work on their desk, but they're also trying to be social media influencers while filming your children. And what you want to understand about having your child filmed while they're learning and educating is you're now creating autism or learning disabilities within them, because you've now got millions of people watching your kid try to learn, and they already have to work a little harder just because of the way their genetics are. Anyone can go to Harvard and Yale. College is a necessary stage in life for most people. They're even trying to convince your children in high school that they don't need to go to college. I don't know where that comes from, because all the people that are saying don't go to college, they all went to college. Whether you were absent in class, you learned things in college, and then you take responsibility for the money you wasted. However, this Obama generation are literally uneducated, lying about degrees, being promoted by these folks because they made money off of these kids. The problem is they have no ethics, morals, and values, and those who are in college aren't learning anything either. Somehow they're making it through with grades, and then getting teachers who actually expected your child to apply themselves to now not apply themselves, and then they get fired over having an expectation for a student to do the student work. So, this all stems from where we are in society today, to the way that they're teaching you. I mean, even right when I was trying to talk, it's a cloudy-minded of separation from the information of what they're educating on. Meaning if the teacher doesn't like their job and they're just kind of up there going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want to be a content creator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Your child's not learning, they're actually just regurgitating. If the baby's watching someone else say mama, they're learning emotional skills from a woman to create carbon copies of an annoying woman named Miss Rachel. While you sit over there on your little cell phone because you don't want to be bothered with teaching your kids, which is the whole reason why you had kids, is because you said you wanted to raise some kids. And it's advanced into a worse case scenario with this millennial Gen Zs as parents. How do I know? It's because I've watched your content. It used to buy your kids books on math and science, and then you'd sit down with them, and then you'd spend some time. Now you just put them in front of the computer and you play Roblox. However, this is important, this paper stuff, because a lot of interference comes from internet. A lot of interference in connecting to learning is interfered when utilizing internet or using electronics. It's like creating more robots. There's a time and a place for everything, of course. Meaning there's so many advancements in being able to produce this video for you. However, I need you to pay attention to what I'm telling you. Meaning they're all talking about AI and ChatGPT or whatever the hell it's called. However, you want to understand the deadly behavior associated to the older generation, which are the parents of these kids, and how they think Miss Rachel is a proper way to educate their child on how to say mama. It's hard to explain, but it's an energy of like deep down darkness. Mama, help me. It's really hard for me to explain it to you because I know you all are brainwashed. But it's an electric shock of their souls being stolen and creating more carbon copies of social media influencers. meaning they're taking human out of human so they can build their empires of money and clout for personal gain while looking a certain way, which is all plastic surgery. If you don't think that affects your child, then you're like completely brainwashed. Now back to educating. Now when I'm teaching the old way, because I can remember my teachers, and no matter what grade I was in, I only had one bad teacher that I can recall, which was in 3rd grade. Everybody else was pretty good. Everybody else was a good teacher, although even right now, they're telling me they weren't good teachers. However, even when I made bad grades in the class, it's because I didn't apply myself. Good teachers, grounded in the information, cared about the information, cared about educating. Or scholars. But that's not what's happening in the educational system any longer. They're like airy, fly by the seat of your pants, care more about their own shit, which is what the government is asking, than giving and gifting the kids information. Because honestly, you should be teaching the same thing every year, minus an advancement of like the newest and upcoming. But there's like a section at the end of the year where you teach that. And then you take the model of what's going on in your classroom, and then you adjust the education in the multifaceted ways that you learn the information, because you should always be going to events to learn about education. You know, they have that new block system on math, which does not make sense to be teaching that as a foundational piece, where they do the block thing. That's an advanced math. That's advanced math. Because now it's just coding. And now you're a robot. See, the teachings of the why, which is what you'll find in that last video I just made, it's a disconnect in education of, well, why do we do addition? And what does it look like? And that makes sense what you did, but why doesn't it make sense then the way that she's teaching it? Because now my kid isn't he's not learning it very well, but why? It's because of the way she's teaching it. It might not even be, she might even be teaching the same way I'm teaching it. But why is it landing where the kid's not understanding it? Is it because she's always on the internet? Is she on the internet 24/7? Is she more worried about herself than she is about the kids and their learning phases? Is she giving them candy? Because if your kid goes to the dentist and your teacher's giving them candy all day long and they got 20 cavities, you actually need to be called DFACS on, which is the child services. Because it's either you or the teacher that is in trouble for that. Because those baby teeth, if they're 6 years old, your big girl teeth and your big kid teeth don't come in all the way until you're 12 years old. So that's 6 years of rotted teeth. Where I've had children sit in my dental chair where they actually need a full denture. That's neglect. It's your responsibility as a parent, but it's your responsibility as a teacher to be co-parenting with your parents of your students. And so my call out is that the lessons that they're educating you on are not landing with your children. There's a lot of fog going on associated to politics, which is all directly pointing at your celebrity content creators who would rather be flashy than educative. It's all about the money and the fame and the glory. Then we've got politics known as the Obama administration, who's terrorized teachers and students. And then now we're in a whirlwind of political war that's actually creating disconnect between you and your child while you put Miss Rachel on the television. And that's New Family, where kids are basically scrounging for information. However, they want it to be all flashy versus real education. Because you can make learning fun, but you also have to be strong and grounded in, I'm in control. So of course there's behavior issues, which also stems from home. And also stems from the parent trying to boss around the teacher. And if you boss around the student, your parent says, not my child. Because that's how warped your minds have become with the Democratic Party, as you then bring erotic dancers into your children's school and you try to teach them to focus more on orientation versus the education. So it's unbelievable to me that you would even have this as a conversation to teach a 6-year-old if they're a boy or a girl. That young of a mind, you're a boy, you're a girl. And then you let them handle the shit themselves because they're not like Dumbos, okay? I mean, they are Dumbos because Dumbo was pretty amazing, but you know what I mean? That's actually control. You do understand that that's control, right? Because you don't see the perspective of these trainees trying to control you. You feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't even particularly like most of them except for maybe Caitlyn. Because Caitlyn actually has a brain. Although Caitlyn was also abused by the Kardashians. So you actually want to take a look and think about what those kids are learning, if they're learning anything besides how to be a prosty. I'm having a Disney themed luxury baby shower. Okay. And that's hot news. Me and North, who's 11 years old and she goes to school, is going to, imagine being an 11-year-old. You're like literally preteen, because preteen is like nowhere to be seen. And now you're going to a fashion week bullcrap in wherever that fashion week shit was. North doesn't want to go, for one. Her mother makes her go to these things for her own publicity, because Kim thinks that it's more important to have money and fame than it is to have an education. So she's actually dumb as rocks. She's paying someone to give her a law degree. And that's where we are with these kids. Whereas North actually wants to learn because she has a brain just like her dad. While Kim Kardashian claims to go to a fancy casino party and claims to be assisting the justice system, when the reality of what she's doing is she's just looking for more clout and fame, and she has no intention of helping anyone who's stuck behind bars because of the Democratic Party, specifically speaking to Kamala Harris, who put them there in the first place. So why are we justice reforming? Why are we needing to justice reform, yet no work's ever being done? And all Jay-Z and the rest of these rappers do is bitch and moan and complain, yet nothing's ever done. Because they don't actually really give a shit. Because if you really wanted to make a difference, it takes like really, really challenging work. But instead, what they like to do is go to fancy parties, look really cool, and not help the man who's down on his luck. And then when the guy who's down on his luck is asking for assistance, you post pictures of yourself hugging up on some woman to make their life even more a living hell. And then just basically say, in an entrepreneur world, you're going to lose sometimes. And then you're going to claim that she's winning, because that's what you just did. And then you're going to say, you need to catch up. I am caught up because it's all over the platforms. So your actions have to match your words. And this has everything to do with the educational system with children and how you're educating. Because everything on the internet is not, listen to this. I have a bath time where I literally take toys, baby toys, and I put them in the bathtub. I'm wearing fully clothed. And then I had 140 views on that video because some perverts thought it was a child in the bathtub. 140 views on that video of me putting toys in the bathtub, but because I said it's bath time, I got more views on it because they thought there was a baby in the bathtub. Yet nobody is doing anything about it, and they're still promoting content where women are seductively walking and posing erotically with their boyfriends and calling that content. While they teach absolutely nothing, which means that the younger generation is at extreme risk for the end of the world. Because whatever comes out of these women's bodies, such as the one that Kardashian's carrying now, is up to destroying the low class. Such as Soros' grandson, destroying the low class, creating slavery again. While Mona Van runs to the bank because she got told that she was the life of the party when nobody even wanted to talk to her, which was actually evident in her videos. Nobody looked at you. At the end, she's even standing there with a nasty look on her face, and Gary's nowhere to be seen, yet she still posts a video. So something bad must have happened there, huh? Not to mention, if you take a look at her sitting in the car with her pissy look on her face, means she knows some shit's going down. And instead, what she does is she covers it up with lies. Now, this is an example of the beginning stages of what's to come for your infants. Because these women are diabolical, and they're growing in numbers, and these men are supporting it. And then you, as fans and followers, are also supporting it, as you all claim you want to be entrepreneurs. When I'm talking to you, you better listen to me. Meaning, you don't see things in the real perspective of human. You see things in the perspective of money, clout, and fame. And you can have all those things, but you better stay grounded in human. Because without human, our civilization is over. And 100%, even though you may not see it, will live in complete, utter misery where we actually end the globe. While you all pretending to help the globe, which is the craziest part of all. It's funny that people at the Hamptons party all showed up, same people with the All-In Challenge, over to the Hamptons parties, now over to where we are with this casino bullshit. Meaning there's some trails of horror and terror of what these people are actually doing to you. Did you hear what I said? Now take a look at what the Livelies are doing, as well as Taylor Swift, how she acts at the MTV Awards, who she's dating, why is there a Netflix show out, how she's acting in the stands. Would she ever actually date this Kelsey guy? He's like worse than Jake. What's to come for us when celebrities start overtaking every single thing, including Maui in the landscape? And how does that affect your children? You all have warped minds, and they've all plotted and planned by working with the Democrats. It's interesting because you don't know who's the good guy or who's the bad guy is, do you? Because these people are such good actors and actresses. But we definitely know that Mona Van's a bad guy. She's Persian. We also definitely know that Kim Kardashian's a bad guy. Her entire family is a bad guy. You want to take a look at those folks as definite bad guys, but we also know Blake Lively's a bad guy. We also know a lot of people are bad guys. Like the guy who owns the Patriots is definitely a bad guy. It's why there's a script. While nobody's doing anything but supporting it by cheering it on, by paying those fees, by promoting them on their websites, while posing for photos so that their fiance can look a certain way, while they don't say anything about her. When she's a social media influencer and he's a social media influencer. However, his birthday's coming up, and it'll be evidence on who he actually is once again. Because we're in the trenches now, folks, of the parties that they're promoting their businesses, of all the corruption that they've done the entire year. And I'm talking about the women. Because all they care about is being seen at these parties, wearing fancy clothes, and buying and borrowing blood diamond jewelry. Meaning they're not real activists. They're just show me. Here's erotica. Ooh, look at me standing next to her doing this, looking seductive. What exactly do you teach, Kim Kardashian? That's what you need to ask yourselves. Her makeup, did you see her face and how much plastic surgery she's had? Look at me. I'm the same age. She might be 2 or 3 years younger than me. And you can go ahead on your side and say that I'm old looking. But all I got to do is add makeup and I'll look like a freaking 25-year-old. Her, on the other hand, looks like a plastic doll that you all have now decided is a new norm. You just wait until you hit 45 and you've been drinking your entire existence. Because you can only go to the cellulite ironer so often. They get the liposuction, they pretend to be fitness influencers, and then they get it ironed out. I told you that many years ago. And now we have proof on video with that dumbass Monavan who's barely, that's not even her real name, by the way. It's not even her real name. No one knows anything about her except for she is part of some psychotic behavior to overthrow Iran, which is associated to what the Democrats are up to. So anywho, that's what I wanted to point out as how it will affect your children in the future. So you either care about your kids or you don't care about your kids. Because how it looks right now is you're just too lazy to open up a book and educate them on 1 + 2. My name is Cassandra, and I will be posting soon on my adventure with the 251 characters, 258. I'm missing some characters, but with the VeeFriends. Because I will not stop until I have exposed all of you. I don't really care who you are or how much money you have.